Tonight, take away your mattress, now the frame. Now the clean floor. You're inches above dirt. The cave is dark, the ground is cold, and just as you close your eyes, a six-legged visitor walks into view. You have one job. Build a place safe enough to stop paying attention to the world for a few hours, and that is harder than it sounds. When you're awake, you can check every sound and movement. Sleep means giving up that control while the ground stays busy beneath you. Grass is the obvious answer. Gather enough, spread it out, and stone feels less like stone. At Border Cave in South Africa, researchers found traces of a place people had built about 200,000 years ago. They laid grass over ash. Grass is soft. Why ash? Researchers think ash made a cleaner base and may have slowed bugs. Not impossible. Not a perfect shield. Just harder to cross. Now imagine making that bed. We don't know the person who did it, so this is only a reconstruction. But the problem is easy to understand. You carry in broad handfuls of grass and spread them over the ash. For the moment, you have one softer, cleaner patch of ground. The two layers are doing different jobs. Grass for your body, ash for what might be trying to reach it. It is not a force field. A bug does not reach the ash, read the rules, and politely turn around. But compared with bare ground, even making the journey less inviting matters. And that sleeping surface wasn't necessarily used only at night. Researchers found tiny pieces left from making stone tools and bits of colored earth mixed with the grass remains. So picture less of a private bedroom and more of a useful living mat, a place to sit, work, rest, and eventually sleep. It sounds clever, but it has an expiration date. Grass gets crushed, dirt collects inside it. Small creatures can hide in it. The thing that made the ground cleaner slowly becomes part of the dirt. Imagine lying down on the same pile night after night. At first it smells fresh, then it gets flat, then damp. Then one evening, you feel something move inside it. Congratulations, your clever new bed has become a tiny apartment building, and you are not the only tenant. If this were your bed today, you would wash the sheets. No sheets? You might replace them. But what if your old bedding is a pile of dry grass and you already have fire? This is where the story takes its strangest turn. Sometimes people may have burned the bed. Evidence at Border Cave suggests that some ash beneath newer grass came from older bedding burned as part of cleaning the area. So the fire wasn't simply destroying the sleeping place, it could help reset it. Old grass out, ash down, fresh grass on top. Suddenly, burning your bed doesn't sound quite so ridiculous. It sounds a little like changing the sheets with a lot more fire. In one move, worn grass disappeared, anything hiding inside lost its home, and the mess could become part of a new beginning. That doesn't mean everyone did it, or that someone followed the same routine every Tuesday. We don't know the schedule. We only know that burned bedding, ash, and new grass appeared together in specific layers. And you may be thinking, hold on, grass disappears. How can anyone find a bed that old? They didn't find a mattress. They found what it left behind. Plants can leave tiny mineral fingerprints after the soft material is gone. At Border Cave, researchers found a huge number of those traces in the same areas as ash, burned material, and pieces left by human work. One tiny trace proves very little, but put thousands in the same place, in the right layers, beside signs of human activity, and the missing surface starts to appear. That is enough detective work for now, because the next clue makes the bed even more interesting. Jump forward to a different rock shelter in South Africa, much later, about 77,000 years ago. At Sibudu, people built bedding from thick layers of plants that grew near water. Then they added leaves from an aromatic tree. Those leaves naturally contain chemicals that can kill or repel insects and their young. Did people choose them for that reason? We can't ask them. Maybe the smell helped. Maybe the protection helped. Maybe both. Imagine the choice from the sleeper's side. You can gather any nearby plant, or the strong-smelling one beside which fewer insects seem to bother you. We cannot know whether that exact thought happened, but the chemistry in the leaves was real, and so was their place in the bedding. But once again, the soft pile of plants turns out to be more than a soft pile of plants. And later, at Sibudu, used bedding was burned too, probably to clear pests and prepare the shelter for its next use. Look at the pattern now. Choose the plants, prepare the ground, use the space, remove the old layer, build it again. That isn't just sleeping wherever you happen to fall. That is housekeeping, before anyone had a house like ours. The bed may even have helped create something like a room before there were rooms. Not walls, not a door, just one patch of ground that people kept different from the space around it. A place for bodies, tools, work, and rest. But there is one more twist. We have been asking what humans did before beds. What if that question starts too late? Our closest ape relatives build beds too. Chimpanzees, gorillas, bonobos, and orangutans make sleeping platforms from branches and leaves. Imagine an orangutan reaching its sleeping place near the end of the day. It doesn't simply lie across the first branch and hope for the best. It pulls stronger branches inward to make a base. It bends and breaks smaller ones. Then it adds softer, leafy material on top. Frame first, mattress second. Sound familiar? And they do not always choose materials at random. In one forest, researchers studied more than 1,800 chimpanzee beds. One particular kind of tree made up less than 1 in 10 of the available trees, but nearly 3 out of every 4 beds. Why keep choosing it? Its branches were unusually firm, flexible, and difficult to break. In other words, good building material for a platform that has to hold a sleeping ape above the ground. This does not show us the exact bed made by some long-lost human ancestor. Branches and leaves usually disappear, which is precisely why the traces at Border Cave matter. But it changes the picture. Bed making may not be something humans suddenly invented after generations of sleeping flat on bare dirt. The habit of building a sleeping place may be older than humanity itself. So Border Cave may not show the moment the bed was invented. It shows something almost as valuable, one ancient human version that survived long enough for us to find it. Was this humanity's first bed? We can't know. Did every human sleep this way? No. Did ash stop every bug? Definitely not. But we don't need any of those claims for the real story to work. The evidence shows that people were gathering plants, arranging layers, maintaining the surface, and preparing it again. They weren't simply accepting the ground, they were changing it. Now put your modern bed back together. First the clean floor, then the raised frame, then the mattress and sheets. We usually notice the softness. But your bed is also distance from dirt, moisture, cold, and whatever might be crawling below. Every night, you close your eyes and stop watching the world. Your bed creates one small place where that feels safe. Your walls, your locked door, and the people nearby add more protection. We have surrounded sleep with so many layers that we barely see them. That job is much older than springs, foam, or furniture. So how did humans sleep before beds? They didn't. They made beds before beds looked like beds. And the hidden move wasn't comfort alone. It was turning a small piece of the wild ground into a place where a human could finally let their guard down. If you want more simple stories about the hidden moves shaping money, business, technology, and everyday life, subscribe to The Hidden Move.